Dinesh, thank you for joining me today. So, Fuller Technologies is back as headline sponsor at Envirotech this year. What does an event like this mean for you in terms of engaging with cement producers and showcasing what's possible with decarbonisation technologies today?
Yeah, thank you, Alfie. Envirotech has been one of our important meeting place for sharing the progress of decarbonization and optimization goals. Why we see this as an important meeting point is basically that we have the key decision makers from the cement producers that come here and along with the technology suppliers who can implement these decisions. This gives us a platform to demonstrate our practical experiences, not just the pilot level, but the real-time implementations, and share this experience to the end producers who wanted to know more about it and can adapt to it. So that's the whole idea that we see this more essential and important in bringing people together and towards the progress of decarbonization.
And your colleague Kiran presented on industrial calcine clay in Envirotech this year. With two operating installations now in place, why is it important for the industry to see that this technology has moved beyond the pilot phase and is delivering results at a commercial scale?
When it comes to any new initiative or new technology, there is always a question in a cement producer mind: can we do it at scale? See, that is a very essential question that we need to answer. That can we do it at scale? Clay calcination has been at a conceptual level for so many years, and it has promising results at the lab level and also at the pilot level. And it took a while. Of course, it I would have been happy to would have been much faster, but it took a while to deliver the results. But now we have two important installation at a commercial level, where we could see the end results at the level of the way how much that we can reduce clicker percentage and also the product quality. I myself, a process guy, actually I've been advocating for clay calcination few years before moving into automation. So I'm equally excited to see what we are able to achieve in this space with the real commercial projects. I think Kiranmay has made it very clear on what are the impact that we could get in terms of be it reducing the CO2 content or in terms of the product quality, in terms of the color control. So we are clearly seeing what that we are able to achieve. So I think the clear message to the end producers basically is that if you are not as a part of the game and you wanted to come into it, there is no more waiting, that you can just jump into the game, and as you can already see the results.
One of the challenges that often comes up with calcine clay is that raw material properties can vary quite significantly from site to site.
Yeah.
How does Fuller's approach to testing and system design help producers adapt to those local conditions while still maintaining consistent output?
Yeah, this is something quite a big challenge, because I could imagine that maybe 5 6 years before, when I was doing this kind of presentations to end customers to bring awareness, we also learn over the period that each quality of clay is surprising and it is very different. Every clay is not the same. So we made a clear protocol and an approach that we will not just go out with a standard solution. So first thing is, like, we go with the testing. So we get the sample, and we have a lab in Dania in Denmark. We do the testing, and then we understand, because the mineralogy, physical characters, be it the particle size, everything is very unique. So we understand that, and then we design the solution accordingly to that, on in terms of crushing, in terms of residence time, in terms of whatever is required at the design phase. At the same time, we also have further one step ahead, that if customer is a bit doubtful, they cannot take decision, then we have a pilot. So we can do the testing, and then we can run in a pilot, and we can produce an activated clay, a real activated clay to them, so they can blend it and see what is that it looks like, and what is the strength that they are getting, whether they are able to penetrate that in the market. So they can do all this research before you get into a capex, right? So that gives a lot of confidence, low risk, that you don't invest before you know what that you're going to get. So that is a level of establishments that we have in this progress. So, and that is how we did the last two projects as well, which is now running successfully commercial.
When you look across Fuller's broader decarbonisation portfolio beyond calcine clay, where else are you seeing strong demand from cement producers, and what problems are they asking you to solve right now?
I like to answer this question in two parts. The first is about beyond clay calcination for the decarbonization portfolio, and the second is on the problems, because that is very important here. We see alternate fuel as, of course, it has been a very strong demand in the past, and it continues to be a strong demand when it comes to decarbonization solution. For every cement producers, increasing the thermal substitution rate is a primary objective that makes them reach the decarbonization initiatives much faster, of course, within the boundaries that they have. And when it comes to the problems, any kind of new initiatives that we do, focusing with the decarbonization goal, always comes with a complexity. Uh, be it anything, because the cement is already a non-linear process, and we are trying to bring in all the uncertainties that is going to affect the stability, that is going to affect the product quality, and so on. So this is a key problem that cement producers are asking us to address. Basically, how to improve the stability. So you introduce an alternate fuel that is coming with a different chemistry that is going to affect your end product clinker chemistry. So how do we handle all these things and improve the stability? So that is where I see this optimization angle is very important, that what you can do with what we have today. Basically, it is instead of doing a bigger upgrade or anything, that you with the assets what the civil producers have, how we can improve the optimization. And that is where I think the easiest process expert what we have is highly relevant, and kind of we are trying to solve this problem in multiple places, where we are trying to do all these initiatives, like kind of introducing more alternate fuels, and then that brings this instability. So we have seen these results in many plants where we could achieve increasing the alternate fuels at a very stable operation and meeting the product quality. And how do we do that is, the key thing is that back in 2024, we have launched a self-adaptive controller. That is an advanced controller, a unique in this similar platform, but it is a unique thing, one of its kind, where it is trying to be solving the perennial problem of the cement industry, that is being non-linear. And as I already mentioned, we are adding more and more complexity towards it. So we need to be more adaptive in the control actions. So this adaptive nature of the controller is really taking a leap, and then kind of solving and kind of helping the in producers to reach their goals much easier.
At the moment, we're hearing a lot about AI and advanced optimization across the cement industry. From your perspective, how ready are most producers in terms of their data and plant systems to really make the most of these technologies?
I think this question is highly relevant at this situation, because there is a lot of discussion about implementing AI-based solutions. But however, as a cement producers, it is always important to understand how ready they are to get the real benefit out of it. There are plants which are AI ready, but not all of it. So here we need to bring awareness in terms of what are the missing, what is that readiness that we are talking. So there are two angles to it. One is towards data, and other is towards architecture. So if I come from a data point of view, so we should understand if there is all the relevant data available. When I say relevant data, the right data, you can have data from different source point, but whether it represents the right quality, that is most important. For instance, you can have a quality data without a timestamp. Still, it is a data which you can use, but it might not create a greater impact without the relevant information. And when it goes to the architecture side, so we need to have a proper ecosystem to kind of, bring all this data into a kind of a solution. So at Fuller, we have a automation suite. For instance, we have ECS and QCX portfolios, the platform. So this becomes a basic foundation where we have process and the quality data that can be integrated into one solution. So we need such level of ecosystem to build more on, an optimization layer, and then you can bring AI solution on top of it. So then you have a complete architecture which can do a seamless integration. So that is the whole purpose of when it comes to delivering the value to the end cement producers.
And while there are clearly some exciting AI driven initiatives and digital advancements emerging, scaling them beyond small trials can often be difficult. From your perspective, what are the biggest barriers to achieving that broader plant wide impact?
Yeah. Definitely, there are multiple barriers, but I could imagine there are very key barriers. Like, one is starting with data quality. So we talked about the data quality. So having the right data, meaning the data that can be converted, that can be useful. So we can have a lot of data, but whether these data makes sense, that's what we need to ensure first. And then the missing data. When I say missing data, there could be that there are certain equipments that is really required. For example, you need to know the chemistry of kiln feed. You need to know the chemistry of the clicker. So these are the data that is essential. So if you don't have an equipment that can give her that data, then probably that's an area that we need to focus. So we need to have the relevant data, right quality data that can really feed into an AI based solutions, any kind of solutions, because after all, it can only reflect based on the quality of the data that it can feed it, right? And then comes to the change management part, because one aspect, I mean, coming from an advanced process control angle, even towards AI based solutions, adoption towards these kind of solutions is very very key, and that requires at a level of a mindset towards how we approach these things, where you see highly skilled operators who have several years of the experience. So he has to feel that this is helping him. So kind of we have to create that connection between the people who are using it. Just not that okay, there is a solution that you just do this. It's not that. They should feel the connection. So we have to bring that buy-in in the operators and that and the whole team. And it's a mutual engagement actually. Basically, it is like we have to both the sides, both the product providers and the cement producers have to engage equally, try to keep that as one of their levers or one of their KPIs to achieve the goals. Then we all feel collaborated. It should not be something like, it is something is going to replace a human being. It is not to replace a human being. It is to enhance the possibilities that we can do here, right? And then finally, the most important thing when you talk about the scalability is the integration. There is where I think at Fuller we come into play, where we should have a holistic view of what we are providing, right? So the cement expertise, the cement domain expertise that we carry for several decades and centuries really help here. So we have solutions, we have predictive modelings, we have target recommenders, we have other different solutions, digital twin, and there are production planning. There are n number of solutions, and then we have to put everything in one basket and we have to integrate that so that we can deliver the results to the end customer. So that's the whole idea, that the integration part is the key benefit, the key value creation, the value chain I can say is completely depending on how we integrate that into one solution. So that is the essence, that, and if you break all these barriers, for sure then we get a scalable solution.
Fuller has also recently announced a partnership with Immibit. Could you start by explaining what this collaboration brings to cement producers, particularly in terms of improving process efficiency and reducing emissions?
So while we have this self-adaptive controller performing so very well, and then we have nice feedback from customer and user stories, there are some gaps that we can still cover it. So when I say gap, it is not because of the capabilities of the adaptive controller or the PXP. It is because of the data that we need to get at the right time. Here is where this partnership makes a lot of value. Imovit has a strong platform, very user-friendly platform, and more reliable platform that can bring soft sensors, which can predict these signals, which is delayed or which is difficult to measure. So there is where we see this combination makes a real value to the end cement producers. So we are talking here very specific soft sensors, that is Freeline, Blade, and O2. Why these three is because these are the key aspects in terms of when you talk about filling the gaps. So we should know what is the quality of the clinker when we are already cooking it, not that after 2 hours. So we have to act ahead of time. The same goes with the blend, the fineness. We should know what that we are grinding it when we are grinding it, not after some time. So this information when it is going back into the PXP, then we are getting the possibilities. We are having a better visibility that we can enhance optimization to the next level. So that is the whole idea. This combination works. So why kill inlet oxygen is because that is one of the toughest environment where you can see an 100% availability of an analyzer. It is not because of the equipment, it is because of the location and so on. So that visibility is very important to understand how much excess air that you are actually having within the kiln, that is directly related to the heat consumption of the process. So these three plays a very key role in terms of the optimization enhancement, and we here does the integration part of this, do the close looping. So we get a very highly reliable and highly accurate soft sensors from Imovit with a very user friendly platform into integrate into the PXP, and then we convert that into the real time benefit to the cement producers, and we narrow the gaps. So that is the whole idea. And in this partnership, Fuller will be fronting the customer, and basically we will take from the sale to the deployment to the services. So we will be the one owner, accountable person for delivering the results to the cement producers.
And just to wrap up, looking ahead, how do you expect cement plants to evolve over the next decade? And what role will Fuller Technologies play in that transformation?
Definitely the objectives towards decarbonization has to accelerate. I mean, people has to put their leg on the pedal because we have a milestone in 2030. So there'll be more initiatives that are more scalable than clay calcination should come into act, and also towards carbon capture solutions. So not that we can eliminate all by the source. We have to, of course, do the capturing part because we have to end of the day make a cement at the required performance. And then in terms of alternate fuels, still we will have more opportunities because we always have the gaps in terms of handling alternate fuels, pre-processing, and kind of bringing the right quality and consistency and so on. So there is always an enhancement towards that. And the most important thing is again how we convert, how we digitalize all these solutions into one area. So when it comes to that, there are I would say the visibility, that is having the right data which we discussed a lot, and the right quality of data and the right dashboards that gives more insights to the people, and then the optimization area where we have the advanced process control and enhanced with AI based solutions, and then the more autonomous operation. So these are some of the key directions I could see the industry will go through, because ultimately, like, you have to connect all these dots to make a combined solution, and then should make it fully autonomous to the to from from the quarry to the packing plant. So it has to be autonomous. It's not that we cannot work in isolations in pockets. So that is the overall objective, and that is how I see that in the future. And Fuller will be playing a key role here because, as I told in the previous conversations, that we have the holistic view of how the cement plant operates, because we know it for the centuries, and then we will act here as an integrator, starting from even a mechanical solutions into digital solutions, because we know the architecture so very well. So then we will play that role to bring everything together and to deliver the value to the end customer.
Dinesh, thank you very much for your time today. It's been fantastic speaking with you. And thank you once again to Fuller Technologies for supporting Envirotech 2026 as the headline sponsor.
Thanks a lot, Alfie. Thanks a lot. Thanks for inviting us here. We are very glad to be a part of this.